What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I am here to bring you all my review of Bungou Stray Dogs episode 5. Sorry that I'm a little bit late on to this, but without further ado, let's get right into the video. So when it comes to this episode of Bungou Stray Dogs, we get introduced to another member of the Armed Detective Agency known as Edogawa Ranpo. Now, from what we have seen of him in this first episode of Bungou Stray Dogs, I just gotta say, Edogawa Ranpo is probably going to be one of my favorite characters of the entire series. Probably my favorite of the entire series. Right now I have a personal top 3 list of who my favorite characters are of the series, and that is Edogawa Ranpo, Ryunosuke Akutagawa, and Osamu Dazai. Now, when it comes to Ranpo's personality, I think I'm enjoying his personality a lot more compared to the other members because, he seems very laid back. He really does. He seems very laid back. He has a quirky side to him, and he's quite funny at some points. All of the members within the Armed Detective Agency are funny in their own right, but I just think that Ranpo's personality is, a lot more enjoyable in his comedic ways. And then, when he needs to be serious, of course, he'll be serious. And also, he doesn't necessarily have an ability, which we will get to in a bit. Now, within this episode, we see Edogawa Ranpo, pretty much go on to this crime scene to figure out a certain, event that ended up taking place. The police are all there, and they want to figure out who exactly murdered this woman. And long story short, pretty much Edogawa Ranpo uses a ability called Ultra Deduction, which pretty much ends up, making him have the ability to pretty much deduct things within the span of a minute or so. So on the spot, he could pretty much come up with things, solve them relatively quickly, and get it all done within the span of a minute. And technically, he did that throughout the majority of this episode. It turns to find out that actually one of the police officers ended up committing the murder. So that was kind of cool to see. However, by the end of this episode, we come to find out that he doesn't exactly have a ability to begin with. I just thought that was pretty interesting because compared to the other members of the Armed Detective Agency, they have their unique special powers and abilities. However, when it comes to Edogawa Ranpo, he does not. He is the most civil and most human character of, the entire group of the Armed Detective Agency, and this is what makes him sort of stand out compared to the others. It's pretty much just his knowledge and his intelligence which grants him the so-called ability, which makes him end up solving things relatively quickly and only under the span of a minute. And I wonder how far this is going to play out on the course of the series, and and I wonder what his weakness is as well. I just want to know, is his ability gonna go as far as, per se, let's say if there's a new port mafia member that the Armed Detective Agency comes across. They don't know about his so-called ability. Will Edogawa Ranpo actually end up, using his so-called ability to actually figure out in the span of a few seconds this other port mafia member's ability? Can he deduct a certain port mafia member or any other person? Can he deduct their own ability if they do not have prior knowledge of, their opponent's ability? That would be pretty interesting, but I wonder what his weakness is as well, because as we have known throughout, the other portions of these episodes of Bungou Stray Dogs, that it's hinted that pretty much while, their abilities do have strong suits to them, they also have weak spots, to them, and I'm very curious as to what exactly Edogawa Ranpo's weak spot would be. So yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see in the future episodes to come on regarding, his overall power. Speaking of Edogawa Ranpo, the original Edogawa Ranpo, because like I stated before in my previous reviews of Bungou Stray Dogs, these characters within the Armed Detective Agency and in Port Mafia, and pretty much just in the anime in general, are inspired by influential authors of Japanese literature, and also, let's just say literature in general, without getting too spoilery. But, when it comes to the original Edogawa Ranpo, he was a mystery author, so to speak. I can't really find a notable work that he exactly published, but he was a mystery novelist. You know, he ended up writing mystery novels, short stories, and such. That was technically his genre, and I kind of, you know, enjoyed that when it came to, you know, looking up, researching him, because reverting to this episode, pretty much this was a mystery sort of episode in general, how we had to have the anime version of Edogawa Ranpo pretty much deduct and, you know, like a private investigator, like how things transpired, and how exactly, you know, who the killer was, you know, just pretty much solving all of these events that ended up going down within this episode, you know. So it's kind of cool how, while the original Edogawa Ranpo didn't have a specific work that the author of Bungou Stray Dogs could use to benefit, you know, Edogawa Ranpo, the Bungou Stray Dogs ability, you know, he actually kind of used Edogawa Ranpo's genre to benefit the anime version of Edogawa Ranpo, if that makes sense. I'm talking about Edogawa Ranpo a lot, but you get my point, hopefully. So yeah, I enjoyed this episode, and Edogawa Ranpo seems like a badass character. I really am enjoying him. Let me know your opinions down below on what you thought about this episode of Bungou Stray Dogs, and also, what would you pick as your top 3 favorite characters of this series so far? As I stated before, my personal favorites are Edogawa Ranpo, Osamu Dazai, and Ryunosuke Akutagawa. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below, and of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. I would greatly appreciate it, and if you want to stick up to date to my future content on this channel, please hit that red subscribe button below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.